Okay, so we're here with the end mill. This is a small hobby end mill, but it's really great for cutting any number of materials, soft materials specifically. It's good at like aluminum, any sort of plastics. So we're going to kind of go over some bits and pieces here, different types of cutters, and then also some terminology of what's what. First, we're going to start with the chuck. This is a chuck that I brought from the States. It's got a taper shaft here. This is a Morse Taper 3. This fits up into the spindle, which is right here, the spindle assembly. You use what's called a drawbar. So you'll take an Allen key, and there's a piece of steel rod that goes through, it's threaded, that attaches to the end here, and it pulls it up into the spindle. So you're going to put the chuck up into the spindle, and you're going to start to tighten this, and you'll feel it draw it up. Okay, and then you'll grab with one hand down here, and then you'll just get it snug. It doesn't have to be overly tight. Okay, so this style of chuck is specific to shank sizes. I will say that you have collet chucks, ER25 collet chucks, and a collets and a collet chuck holder that will be coming in the mail, and that's what you'll end up using. But the principle is the same. In the case of what you'll be using, you have these ER25 collets, which I'll grab real quick. This is what they look like right here. In your chuck, you'll mount this in the chuck, and each one of these collets is specific to a diameter of end mill shank, which is this part of the end mill that you'll use. In the case of this example, we have a chuck that is one size only, and this size is, in this case, is 3/4. I have one here for 3/8, and effectively what you would do is take the flat on the end mill that you can see. There's an Allen key set screw right there. You would lodge that in, line up, and then tighten down the flat, and that'll prevent the end mill from spinning in the chuck. Okay. So that's the work holding, or the tool holder right there, chuck. These are a couple different styles of end mills right here. You have a roughing end mill. So this is what you would use to take off quite a bit of material quickly and easily. Then you have two other end mills that are effectively the same end mill with the exception of the number of flutes. So the general rule is the softer the material, the fewer the flutes, in order to get a nice finished cut. Some will argue with that, but at any rate, this is what sort of convention states. 4 flutes, on the other hand, should be used for harder materials, and it might give you a nicer finish. I typically like to buy end mills, if you're into buying end mills, with a little bit of a radius on the end. They last a little bit longer, and they're subject to chipping less. So these are very brittle. These end mills are very brittle, and they are extremely sharp and will stay sharp, but as a result, they are brittle and they'll break and they'll chip. So if one chips in this facility, you're just going to have to get a new one. Okay, so this last one I'll mention is a surfacing tool. It has 3 replaceable carbide triangles in it. The nice thing about this is you're not going to get deep cuts with this, but you're going to cover a large surface area. So if you want to make something flat, this is the tool you would end up using. This is mine personally, I brought from home. Dorian makes this, but there are any number of brands out there that work great. And they use standard inserts. This is just a carbide insert. I recommend trying to find a carbide insert with a nice round nose to it versus a sharp point. They last longer and chip less, and they also give you a smoother finish. I'll use this as an example to mount a cutter up into here. And so there's my flat, my set screw. I'm going to back this out a little bit, and what I'm going to do is just kind of line it up visually, right, like that. And then I'm going to kind of snug it up, and I'm going to kind of wiggle it around until I can get that set screw in further. So you'll know whether or not it's in because the set screw will be stuck out, and then you can still spin this, okay? But you can also find the sweet spot just by turning the cutter and kind of going back and forth. And, okay, so there it is. Now I can't move, I cannot twist this cutter inside the chuck. Okay, so you give that a nice and snug there. Okay, and that's sort of part one of the end mill.